Hi, happy spring. So it's International Forest Day and the first full day of spring. And I wanted to show you something amazing that's happening, which is the buds are beginning to open. And right now we can see some buds that have not opened at all. Some have started to open. And I want to help you see the transformation that's going to happen this spring. So we'll start by looking at a plant in the rose family. This is Rosa rugosa, and you can see some of the buds have not opened, at all, and you can just see those red bud scales, tiny little buds. And then other buds, the bud scales have opened and the leaves are starting to come out. And you can see those leaves appearing. Some of them have many bud scales, so the leaves are just what's at the very tip. And I'm going to show you another plant in the rose family. So this is Rosa rugosa, and over here we've got a peach tree. So peach is also in the rose family, and it's a different genus. Prunus is the genus, and Prunus, that genus, it includes most of the fruit trees that give us the fruit that we eat, a lot of the fruits that we eat. So we're actually eating the fruits of roses, rose family at least. So if you look at these buds, the bud scales are still protecting what's inside. So those bud scales are there all winter long, protecting whatever's going on inside. And some plants have leaves very developed before they open, and other ones, they're just beginning to develop within the bud scales. I have others to show you. Okay, so this is another plant in the rose family. This one is cherry, but it's not the kind of cherry that we eat. This is a black cherry tree, and you can see the bud scales are beginning to open. These very pointy buds are just about to kind of open their leaves. Not quite yet though. So you just see the bud scales. So this is in that same rose family, Rosaceae, and it's in the same genus as the peach tree, Prunus. So this one is black cherry, which is a native tree to the area. And people don't usually know that you can eat the fruits, but you can. They're good. So I also just wanted to point out the bark of the black cherry tree. One thing that's cool about the cherry bark is that you can see the lenticels. So those lines there, those are the tree's way of breathing. It's kind of like little mouths or noses that the tree has. Those lenticels allow gases in and out of the tree. So this bark is protecting the tree, but it's also letting things in and out. And this is a young black cherry, but I've got an old black cherry too, so you can see the difference in just a minute. So this is an older black cherry, and you can still see parts of the bark that show those lenticels, and then other parts that don't. So the bark of different trees make different patterns. It has to do with how the tree is growing and how the outer skin of the tree responds to the pressure of it growing larger. And different trees do that really differently. So this is the way that black cherry does it. So when you're looking at a tree in the winter or before the leaves come out and you're not sure what it is, sometimes you can see leaves on the ground, and if there's a whole lot of certain types of leaves, that might give you a clue. So this is the leaf of a Norway maple, and maples have palm-shaped leaves. So the lobes, you say it's palmately lobed. It's lobed, it has different lobes in the shape of a palm. You can kind of see that in this leaf. So bark, again, has different patterns, and young bark is different from older bark. This is a young tree, and you can see that the bark is pretty smooth. It really hasn't had to deal with too much pressure because the tree hasn't grown much yet. Let's take a look at an older Norway maple. So here is an older Norway maple, and you can see how different the bark is from this tree. So all that pressure of the tree growing underneath has created these plates of bark. It's kind of like a river. Some people say that it's like braided bark. Now, a lot of people hate Norway maples. Myself, I don't really hate any trees. I think that they're all cool, even the ones that you might call invasive, because really those invasive trees, they're just able to deal with the things that we create. So they can deal well with pollution, and they do have a root toxin that can keep other trees away, but not so much, because around here there's tons of other trees growing around this, including some black cherry. So this tree has a really different kind of bud. It has a bud that has no bud scales on it. So when you look at these buds, you're actually looking at the leaves themselves in their kind of infant stage. So it's like an embryo of a leaf. And you might be able to see the color. They're kind of this bright yellowish color. This is a bitternut hickory tree. So you can see this tree has alternate growth. The buds are coming out alternate each other, not opposite. And you can see where the leaves were that fell in the fall, those leaf scars. Trying to see if on that side you can see some, like there. They're pretty much under the buds. And you can also see, because this tree is young, you can see some of those lenticels where you see the little tiny dots. Those are lenticels. That's where the air is going in and out of the tree. And the bark is pretty smooth on this young tree. There's an older hickory I'm going to show you. So this is an older hickory tree, and you can see the cool pattern like rivers going up the bark of this tree. Very straight trunk. Nice tree. The squirrels planted this one. So the buds on this black locust are kind of microscopic, so we're not really going to look at them. But you can see that where there is one bud, there's nothing on the other side, so it's got alternate growth, and it's got these thorns. Not a lot of trees have thorns like this. So black locust has thorns, especially young growth. And because it's young, you can also see those lenticels. Let's take a look at an older black locust tree. So this black locust is a little bit older, and you can see it's got a cool pattern of bark because it's already expanding, putting pressure on that skin and making it have to do something to open up so that it can get bigger. If you look up, you can see it's still got its seed pods from last year. And black locust is so cool because it's in the pea family. So all the plants in the pea family have pea pods, something like pea pods. And you can see those kind of pea pod things up there. I've seen squirrels eating them, of course, but I've also seen turkeys eating them. I've seen turkeys up in the trees here eating those pods. They also give nitrogen to the soil. Instead of needing a lot of nitrogen from the soil, they have bacteria in their roots that help make the nitrogen they need. So they can grow in areas where there's very little nitrogen, where the soil is not good. They're very resilient, and some people don't like them, once again, because they come up where people don't want them. I'm going to show you one of the pods. So there are the pods and the seeds inside. And what do you say? Shall we plant some black locust right now? All right, there they go.